Ladies and gentlemen, upgrading our needle is one of the most important things we can do to make our lives easier as we travel throughout Pharloom. So in this video, we're going to go obtain all 3 of the upgrades so we can have a nice, smooth playthrough. Consider hitting that like button, all that jazz. Let's get started. So the first upgrade is the more straightforward one to get, as it comes from defeating the boss, Widow, at the top of Belheart. In order to reach this boss, you need to explore Pharloom and retrieve the 4 different traversal upgrades that are available in the following order. We're going to get Silk Spear, Swift Step, Drifter's Cloak, and then Cling Grip. Once you have all 4 of these upgrades, you can take on Widow, and this will unlock the town of Belheart. This is giving us access to many different vendors, but most importantly, you can go visit the Pin Master Plenty, located at the top of Belheart. And because he's just so stoked that you freed everybody from this curse, the first upgrade is going to be given to you at no cost. Now, the second pale oil will only be found in Act 2 once we reach the Coral Chambers. So starting off at Songclave, we're going to jump up and head to the west. Our first objective will be to defeat the Cogwork Dancers boss, and I consider this being one of the more straightforward bosses to deal with, especially compared to what we've found so far in Pharloom. Once they're defeated, interact with the center console. This is going to open up a pathway for us to jump down below, and we're going to head straight into the room to the left hand side. There we're going to find a bench, and conveniently placed right above us is going to be a map to this new area, the Cogwork Core. From here, though, we're going to have to drop down and start heading east, dodging some of the Cogwork bugs. Once we hit a low point, then we're going to want to platform all the way back up and to the right-hand side. Make sure you open up the shortcut gate here to the left, and then we'll continue moving up and east. We're soon going to enter a room that's going to bring us to the exit of the Cogwork Core. Hit the lever to rotate the wheel that brings us to the Whispering Vaults. As we progress through the next section here, it's going to be filled with boxes on rails, and there's going to be a mini puzzle coming up that we're going to have to solve. But first, you're going to hit this box and head up to an arena where you're going to fight several enemies. After defeating these enemies, you will now officially enter the Whispering Vaults. Head to the right-hand side first, passing an enemy that's sitting down. This will unlock a shortcut to the Songclave bench, as well as provide us with the map for the Whispering Vaults area. From here, our goal is to get to the bottom of Whispering Vaults, looking for an exit to the west. Once you reach this next chamber, you're going to deal with that mini box puzzle that we spoke about before to get our pale oil. The first box we see, we're going to want to hit that to the east. Then the second box in the same direction. Jump up on the platform above you and hit that box, which is going to create your path to wall jump on top of. Wall climb up these boxes and hit the one blocking our path. From here, we're going to jump on top of all the boxes, hit a box left, then hit the next box down, the next box hit left, then up to open our path that we're looking for, and the pale oil will be waiting for you here. We can now open up this shortcut to get to the fast travel station below us, so we can head back to Belheart to visit the Pin Master for our next upgrade. Now let's talk the second upgrade though, because this is going to be locked behind quite the long quest line called A Great Taste of Pharloom. The NPC named Loyal Mergwin will be waiting for you here at this location to hand you that quest. Once you arrive, attack the pale oil container to get his attention, and there's going to be a few items we're going to need to collect, with the first one being a mossberry stew. This is coming from the druid NPC we find way earlier in the game that asks us to collect the 3 mossberries, and he's located here in Upper Mossholm. Now, I don't know if you were actually required to complete the berry picking quests beforehand, but just in case, the locations to the 3 mossberries are found here. You're going to find 2 in Moss Grotto, and there's one actually right below the druid in this hidden portion of the map. Another ingredient needed for this quest is found by completing additional quests found in Belholm. These are called My Missing Courier and My Missing Brother. For the My Missing Courier quest, you're going to head left, taking the route at the bottom of Shellwood. From here, you continue to head west, drop down and stay towards that left-hand side wall, and you'll eventually run into the Lost Courier, being attacked by 2 enemies you're going to need to deal with. Speak with Tip and complete your quest. With that, you're good to head back to Belhart and collect the next quest that's needed, My Missing Brother. This one's taking us to Sinner's Road, and I love this place so much that I think we just need to wait to complete this part. So instead of Sinner's Road, head to Greymoor's halfway home for our vintage nectar. You're going to need to pay the bartender 480 beads for him to open his cellar. You can head straight down and just bypass the group of enemies that await you there and go straight to the vintage nectar. But once you pick that up, another wave of enemies are going to be awaiting you. And once you fight through the second wave of that ant infestation, you can go down and collect your final reward. Now that that's all said and done, we can now take care of the Missing Brother quest. And while we're over there, we can go ahead and pick up the Pickled Muck Maggot item, since that's over in Sinner's Road as well. So starting at the halfway home, we're going to take the elevator to the top, and we're going to start heading over to the right-hand side of Greymoor to enter Sinner's Road. From here, continue making your way east and head to where the bench sign directs you. You're definitely going to want to make sure that this bench is unlocked, and once you get it, you can head back to the right-hand side, and on the top left of this next zone, you're going to come across the Courier Pill, guarded by, of course, a few enemies. Once you complete this quest, our next focus will be the Pickled Muck Maggot. Head out to the east looking to hit the bottom floor and continue heading east from here. You're soon going to reach a double jump area that leads us straight to a boss fight. This thing's going to be no pushover, so before taking on this boss, be sure to hit the lever that's going to open up the shortcut, so you got yourself a nice straightforward run to deal with the pain in the ass that's coming up. The boss we're facing is the disgraced chef Lugolei. You're going to ring the dinner bell to start the fight, take out 2 ads, and then the fight properly begins. Like I said, this boss is one of the harder bosses, in my opinion, that lives in Act 2. Range tools are going to be your best friend here, as this allows you to keep uptime on the boss as we stay patient and dodge the green muck maggot balls that he just continuously casts. The main ability to be on the lookout for is his little butt slam that he does across the entire arena. Dodge this and the balls consistently, and GG's, you win. I also found that the running attack is especially helpful here, as you can quickly get in, get a hit, and then dodge the balls on the way out. But anyways, once you have him defeated, you're rewarded with the muck maggot, and we are good to get out of here. In order to get the next ingredient, the crust nut, we need to access the new zone called Sands of Karak. Starting from the Blasted Steps Bellway Station, head over to the right and drop down, making a left when you see the sign with the pins on it. As you progress, you're going to need to defeat the Great Conch Flies boss. This should be absolutely no problem at all if you just took on the Disgraced Chef encounter. But from here, we continue west to the Pinstress Hut, where you can receive your charge attack upgrade, with the entrance of Sands of Karak being to the northwest. For this upcoming area, I highly recommend using the Ascendance Grip tool. This allows you to stay in place while gripping the wall. It's going to make your time in Karak much easier. Use the rings to the west, and following the path is going to take us to this new area. Sands of Karak is full of temporary platforming sections, and hitting the pearls are going to activate these. On the third platform, there's going to be a split. Going left first will take you to an optional memory locket, so something to consider. But moving into the next area is going to get us a shortcut and a map from Chakra as we continue to head north. Grab the map, and up above there's a spike that you want to break. This is going to fall and give you your closest bench attaching to the Blasted Steps. I recommend resting at this bench since it's now your closest location to where you're going to be progressing. This will lead us to a path of spikes that we need to break down to open up the path to our crust nut. And this is the section that's really going to benefit from having that Ascendance Grip. From here, we keep moving west, breaking all the spiked clusters along the way. Once you make your way through this parkour section, you're going to be rewarded with that crust nut. Now the last ingredient we need is the Courier's rasher. And this item or quest is going to need to be taken from the brothers in Belheart all the way up to Loyal Mergwyn without using any fast travels. This quest specifically will have a timer, so you're going to need to complete this within 5 minutes. Alongside that, taking damage, any long falls, slamming into walls while sprinting will all reduce your time. There's a bunch of routes that you could take, but in my case, I took the route going through Shellwood. But before we head out, let's get ourselves as prepped as possible. Throw on your flea brew to increase our movement speed and anything else that you could stack up with that. Quick side note, you don't need any movement increases to get this done. I didn't have it when I first did it, and there was still plenty of time left. I'm just saying a movement increase in your case certainly won't hurt. Alright, so to start off this path, we're going to beeline it to the west, heading to the second to last section before we leave this area. And we're going to go straight up from here. Once you reach the top, bust a left, and that's going to bring us straight into the blasted steps. Start navigating through the blasted steps, and by now we might have a double jump, which helps you dodge enemies and cut down on some of the pathing that we used to take when we first arrived here. Once you get to the Grand Gate, we're going to start using these platforms to take us to the southern part of the Coral Chambers. And once we get to the top here, we got some options. When I made it to this section here, I made a left and went up and went around the Citadel Spa. This leaves us with a straight shot to the east, arriving right at your NPC. Once you get to the main location, don't forget to jump as he's actually on the top level. I fell for that once and I wouldn't want you to repeat that. But with that all said and done, you can now head back to Belheart and collect your second upgrade. If this is your second oil that you're bringing him, it's going to take 450 beads to get this upgrade, but it's definitely well worth. If you have any questions along the way, let me know down in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Silksong so far? You loving it? You hating it? Let me know. By the way, I stream every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so feel free to stop by and hang out. And check out one of these other videos coming up on your screen next. Toodles!